Magic, paper airplanes, delicious food, and love blossom in the Sarah Michelle Gellar rom-com, Simply Irresistible. Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we are talking about the 1999 rom-com Simply Irresistible. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here are a few ways that you can.
Did you know writing a review and or rating us helps us get more listeners? Make sure you head over to your favorite podcast platforms such as Apple, Podchasers, Spotify, and leave us a wonderful glowing review or a 5-star rating.
And if you like what you hear, make sure to smash that subscribe button so you get all of the newest content.
We're not just great at selecting movies to cover, we also have a knack for finding nostalgic treasures you may fancy. So don't forget to check out our Amazon store and check out all of our great finds. Head to amazon.com/shop/no more late fees podcast. All right, Jackie, what is Simply Irresistible about?
After her mother's death, mediocre chef Amanda Shelton is having trouble attracting customers to her family's restaurant. While shopping for ingredients, she is given a magical crab by a mysterious Gene O'Reilly. Afterward, Amanda's dishes suddenly become excellent, inducing strong emotional reactions in everyone who eats them. Tom Bartlett, who is preparing to open his own eatery, tries her cooking and falls in love. It stars Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Patrick Flanery, Patricia Clarkson, Amanda Peet, Dylan Baker, Christopher Durang, Larry Gilliard Jr., and Betty Buckley. It was directed by Mark Tarlov. It was written by Judith Roberts, and you can currently watch it on Hulu and Plex. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again.
The best, would play on repeat.
5-day rental.
Would watch again.
2-day rental.
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
And same-day rental.
Trash. Straight up trash.
Just like Amanda's cooking before she found the witchcraft. All right, Jackie, what was Y2K Jackie's rating of this movie?
I have never seen this movie before.
Wow. We're in for a ride.
Ken has.
I'm not surprised.
He was ecstatic.
Excited.
Like, as soon as he realized what movie it was, he was like, I know this movie. It's so cute. I can't wait to watch it. And he was so happy that we had to watch it last night.
Now, what do you think Y2K Danielle's rating is of this movie?
Y2K Danielle was just blinded by anything Sarah Michelle Gellar. So
I feel so seen, but also read for filth at the same time.
You're a stan, and that's fine.
You're right, Jackie. I watched this movie all the goddamn time. It was a would buy for me.
Oh.
I didn't even have to check the shelf. I know it's there. As we learned on the Moms episode, my mother called me out for anything Sarah Michelle Gellar. If I saw her, I would pass out.
Yes.
To this day.
Yes.
And this was at the peak of Buffy.
It was, and has since come out and said it's her least favorite of all the movies she's done.
Well, I think they were trying to take advantage of the Buffy crowd. And
yeah, that's true.
cha-ching, they got me, bitch. They got
They didn't get much else. Tell us about the box office.
The budget for this movie was $6 million. It's just 2 million shy. That's all. Worldwide, they made 4.4 million. No problem. It opened at 9th place at the North American box office, making the 2.2 million in its opening weekend. So it's like it made half of its money.
And the word got out, Danielle.
Because back then those movies were in the theater for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what else was in the theater
around this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Patch Adams was number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was Saving Private Ryan. Number 3 was Stepmom.
Mm-hmm.
The Prince of Egypt. And then followed by A Bug's Life.
There's a lot of competition. That's all this was.
Was there?
Well, you know what, Jackie? Lil Raj has something to say. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3 out of 4 stars and stated, old-fashioned and obvious, yes. Like a featherweight comedy from the 1950s. But that's the charm. But in a very sad turn of events, Lil Raj's bestie, Gene Siskel, he passed away, as we know, and this was the last movie before his death, and he gave it a thumbs down. He was riding out in a blaze of glory. Okay?
My pal Gene, don't disagree. Lil Raj can't be right all the time.
Maybe.
But before we get into the cast and crew, let's go ahead and hear a message from our pod pals.
Prepare yourself for a return to the 1990s on the Nostalgic Millennial Podcast.
And then Brendan Fraser leads out with the bravado, and then boom, Evie comes out. One word here, and then they tie in the temptation, not to the money, but to Evie. This is Paul. If you're feeling the nostalgia, follow our Instagram for much more.
And this is Matt. We'll see you next time when we return to the 1990s on the Nostalgic Millennial Podcast.
Okay, so the cast and crew. The director pitched the film to Holly Hunter, who he intended to play the lead role, but the studio didn't want her to play the part. Sarah Jessica Parker was then wanted, but the studio felt she was too old. Even though my understanding is the character was written older, and then it was rewritten to a 20-year-old woman, with Sarah Michelle Gellar landing the role.
The studios are so ageist. And to think even then, like Sarah Jessica Parker and Holly Hunter they weren't old.
They were age appropriate for the man they got to play in this movie.
How old was Sean Patrick Flanery?
There is a 12-year age difference.
Damn. He aging good, though. In that movie, at least. I didn't realize that. I did not realize that.
I was like, who is this mediocre actor? Like, I would be happy if I never saw another movie with him in it.
I don't think you know what? I can't even stick up for him because I don't think there's a lot of things I've seen him in.
I looked at his IMDb. Mm-hmm. He was in Dexter for several episodes.
And you still don't
remember it. And I love me some Dexter and rewatch it all the time. That's how forgettable he is.
I don't have words for that. I do have a lot of opinions about his character, though, so we can definitely peel back that onion. Yeah. You know what's so crazy? And the first scene of the movie, the actor Gabriel Mack from Suits, he plays Harvey on the TV show Suits, and as soon as I saw him, because obviously when I saw it back then, I didn't recognize him. I was like, he would have been a great lead. He would have been wonderful. He's so charismatic. He would have pulled this off 100%. So I was very disappointed. Like just starting the movie like that really fucked with my head, because then I kept comparing him to who was actually the lead.
It only went downhill from there.
I have a lot of questions, Jackie.
Danielle, I don't have any answers for you.
Like, one, who is this man that just like introduces her, I guess, to her powers? And I don't know what makes the powers, right? Is it that this man is sent from her mom? And he says his name as if it's supposed to mean something. I didn't even Google it to see if it comes up from like an old movie or something. I have
Gene
no idea.
O'Reilly.
Right. What is it? I don't know. And is it the crab that gives her magical powers? Is it that she's in love? Is it her mom's earrings? Is it this angel? I'm guessing that's who he is. Like, what is it?
So last night, I can't remember what part it was, but it was just like, it was the middle of a movie and I had had enough. And I was just like, what the fuck? What is happening? And Ken went on a tirade. So I was like, this movie doesn't make sense. And he goes, what's not to make sense? It's a magical crab sent down by God from her mom to make her happy. And he lives in the kitchen.
That, like, how's that crab still living?
I don't know. He has no water. He's just living on vibes up by the salt.
Oh my God.
Danielle, we've done a lot of movies on this podcast.
Right.
And some are like straight up bad. Like Raise Your Voice, not a good movie. But it made sense.
Mm.
This movie.
Right.
Didn't make a goddamn lick of sense.
So after doing the notes and after like watching this, I was able to pinpoint what was like the things that came together that made me love it when I was younger.
Okay.
We already know the Sarah Michelle Gellar factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also know that I like love old movies.
Yes.
You know, all the Turner Classic movies that my mom and I used to watch. And this movie has the feel of like a 1950s, 1940s, like romantic comedy. It has the feel of it. It wants to be that. The look of it is that. The music of it is that. I think, and it's a rom-com. So like all of those pieces, that's what made me like it.
And it has magic.
And it has magic. I do love I will like not I'll believe anything. You know, if you tell me, if you just explain it away and just say it's magic, fine. But if you have too many pieces,
yep,
and I don't know the source, I'm confused and I have a problem.
Just she's a witch. That's all we needed. We didn't need a magic crab.
No. The crab makes zero sense. And at some points, you could see the strings pulling the crab. Did you see that?
To be honest, I was kind of scrolling on my phone for
Oh my gosh. I think the thing that's lacking in this movie, as much as we feel like Sean Patrick Flanery wasn't like the best, I really think it was the script. Because Sarah Michelle Gellar is a top-notch actress. You give her scraps, she gonna make it work.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she doesn't like this movie, because she couldn't even make this work.
Yeah. You know what this movie feels like? If you took a script and ran it through Google Translate a few times, and then you're like, okay, this is the version we're making. So
the director's wife is who wrote this movie, and I don't think she should have. Because from a direction standpoint, it's a visually beautiful movie. It's just the words make zero sense. And she's trying to get that banter from like that 1920s.
Yeah. Like His
banter.
Girl Friday banter, and it doesn't.
Right. It doesn't hit. And again, we have top-notch actors. Patricia Clarkson eats this fucking shit up.
This She was the only saving grace for me in this
I
movie.
knew you were going to say that.
I was like, just give me Patricia Clarkson as like the snarky secretary lady, like that's seducing the man with weird lips in the elevator with eclairs. Like that's the only part of this movie I enjoyed.
And it makes me think that like them being older might have worked. She should
Yeah.
have been like, if she was the lead, it would have been,
So good.
fun. Not again, Sarah Michelle Gellar could do no wrong.
It needed to go the way of Down with Love went, whereas over the
Yes.
top. Then it
Yes.
would have worked with all of this weird magic shit.
Yes. And I was thinking about that. This movie, I would say if it had like a subcategory in rom-coms, would be like What Down with Love and even You've Got Mail.
Mhm.
Because You've Got Mail obviously is a remake of Shop Around the Corner,
Yep.
which is from that time period. So it has that like quirky cuteness about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. To me, the script failed. It really, really failed. And also, he's not likable.
No.
We are supposed to feel what Amanda is feeling. And I cannot understand how this man keeps playing her to the left. Like, I don't understand what she likes about him.
Yes. I 100% agree. Like, I'm like, why you keep going after him? Like, is it his pheromones? Like, what is the thing? Because I'm not seeing it with these eyes. And like you
Right.
said, I think the writer was going for witty banter, and he was just fucking mean.
Yeah, he wasn't nice to her. There's like, I couldn't find anything that he did for her to appreciate her all the way down to almost the very, like he didn't, last scene, he didn't believe in her.
Yeah. And then all
I,
of a sudden he was like, oh, okay. Like, that wasn't even believable. That all of a sudden he was just like, never mind, your magic powers don't weird me out
yeah,
anymore. We can be together. Like, because now you're making me fucking money because everyone likes your cooking.
right. It took him so long to get there. I didn't like that. And she didn't get mad enough for me. I think that was the other thing. We have seen Sarah Michelle Gellar, especially even before we get to this role. She has always been like a badass, really strong woman. And to see her kind of like bowing down to this guy that doesn't deserve her just felt weird.
Yeah. Like, she was just sad. She never got like fuck you mad, which she should have. Like, I can't control this shit. Like,
Right.
why are you blaming me? This is brand new for me too. Like, just go with it instead of like calling me a demon, I think at one point.
He was so prejudiced against witchcraft.
He was.
I mean, seriously,
Yes.
he was very not likable. And I think if these two, regardless of the script and the crazy premise, if these two had undeniable chemistry and he had something about him that made you like him, I think we would have been able to kind of gloss over. If there was a little bit more comedy to the rom, like you look at Tom Hanks in You've Got Mail, and he's a very unlikable person in that movie, but he has that charisma and he ends up starting to change and be nicer, and you see that. This guy,
his arc was just a straight line.
in all the years that I watched it, I didn't see it. But also, I haven't watched this movie in a long time, and it wasn't streaming for a while. I remember wanting to like watch it, and then it wasn't streaming. And then by the time that I was like, oh, it's streaming, I was like, oh, I have to wait till we do it on the podcast.
Well, we're older now and we've had therapy. So we know because a boy is mean to you does not mean that he likes you.
Yeah. And also, they didn't stick to his quirks, right? Like, he was mean instead of it just being like, sometimes you get those characters who are like, I'm very logical and love doesn't make logical sense to me. I like to be on a schedule. That would have made more sense because they started to do stuff about like Data where they didn't pull that string all the way through.
No, like there were so many things that were brought into this movie and then never touched again.
Yeah.
Or he'd be like, this doesn't make sense. It's only day 2, but I want to date 3. Like, okay, where are we going with this? Oh, nowhere. Okay, cool.
I also think one of the things that I love about this movie is the food and like it makes you want to eat. I love movies that you want to eat along while you're watching. And I would punch my grandma for one of those like eclair things that she makes. They
Those
look
really
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
And then at one point I'm like, so is she a baker or is she a chef? Because usually it's 2 different people in a kitchen.
Right. She doing everything, girl. She doing everything. But I had questions about some of the food scenes.
Well, she's just standing there like playing with an apple and she looks down and it's like an apple filled with ice cream. I'm like,
How?
yeah. And like
How did
people
that
are standing there facing her, talking to her. So it's not like she get like her back's turned and they don't see like that it just magically appears. Like,
Also, so that the scene behind me where she has it looks like a blueberry cheesecake. So she brings that out, but she also brings out batter. I'm like, but what are we doing, boo? He wanted dessert.
yeah.
Why not cut into that cheesecake? What are we making? Is it a topping? Like, what's happening right now?
Well, every time she was making the batter, I think she was making choux pastry for more of the eclairs.
Yeah.
We've been watching a lot of British Bake Off, so I can identify a batter pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, if your eclairs are the signature thing, why are you making it an apple thing? Why are you making, like, why isn't that just your signature because it makes everyone happy?
Also, this plant, the vanilla plant that he brings her,
Uh-huh.
is not really a vanilla plant in real life. I don't know what plant it is, but it's not vanilla.
They couldn't even get that right. What are we doing here? Can we remake this movie and make it 100 times better?
Yes.
At least we'll get the plants right.
100%. 100%. And the whole funny thing is that like you have the wrong vanilla plant and the movie was originally supposed to be called Vanilla Fog. Oh, glad they changed that. But from a SEO standpoint, it would have done better because every time I look for Simply Irresistible, that damn Palmer song comes up, and I was like, not that
movie. Well, we're kind of hopping all over the place, which I feel like we're bound to do because this movie is so disjointed anyway. Like, even if we go in order, it's not going to feel like we go in order. But essentially, Amanda is a mediocre chef who goes to the farmer's market every morning, it seems like. And this mysterious Gene O'Malley is like, crabs. And she's like, I'm good. And he's like, no, but take the crabs. And then he says something.
Your mom wants you to.
Yeah.
Like your mom wants you to be happy or I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of wake up, all the signs are there, like you're not listening or some crap.
And so she's just like, okay, I'll buy the crabs. And then one escapes. So now she's chasing crabs through the farmer's market that she doesn't want in the first place. And the crab like crawls up the pant leg of, what is his name?
Oh, Tom.
Yeah, Tom Bartlett, which she's like, oh, like the pear. Did we need that clarification?
I didn't even know a pear was called that.
So that is their meet cute, but it's just like super fucking awkward.
Yeah.
It's not even fun. It's not even jovial. It's just like the crab literally pinches him on the leg. And there's no witty banter about it. No, you gave me crabs. Nothing.
And she does say something about her crabs or something. I was like, that line didn't come out right.
Yeah. Because that was not a joke.
And just a side note, this is the debut of Judith's like writing career, like for movies, I'm guessing. And it was Mark's debut as well. However, Jackie, he is the producer of one of our favorites, Pecker.
Oh, I do enjoy that.
Yes.
But what else has she written? I would like to know.
Not much, my friend. Not much. All right. She wrote this movie called Simply Irresistible.
Mm-hmm. That's it? Well, I mean, maybe she got the feedback and she's like, okay, maybe writing is not where I need to be.
She also produced a movie called Temptation.
So I find it interesting that according to Tarlov, the script was originally about a middle-aged young woman who had never found romance before because she never found her passion. And when she found her passion, which was cooking, romance followed. Where is this movie?
Right.
Like, take out the crabs, have her meet cute at the farmer's market without crabs. And then it's like, oh, I found someone I'm interested in. And so like I was a good cook before, but now like my emotions are coming through in my food, you know?
Maybe, the studio kind of fucked up the process because it's clear that they had a vision of what they wanted to do and then they had to write younger. And a lot of writers write what they know, and maybe the writer was at that point in life where she was a little bit older and she could have written something that she wanted to see like from her experience.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to write for this young 20-year-old who doesn't know what the hell's going on, I guess. So,
Ugh.
oh man. So she has her meet cute. She goes back to the restaurant. That's where we learn that, the restaurant's not doing well. We meet her aunt, Sheila, I think.
She'd just be drinking martinis.
She a drunk. Girl is having the time of her life.
Although whatever that Rube Goldberg martini making thing is, I want one of those. One of the only other things that was interesting to me.
Don't get that, Jackie. You don't drink martinis enough for that. That's just
Ken drinks martinis quite a bit. So
okay.
I just have to put a little marble in and I don't have to make a martini for him. I'm there.
But did you have to pour the alcohol?
It was on the bottle was on a swivel and it like hit it and poured it and then it plopped an olive in there.
So yeah, we meet her aunt. She says that they're going to pretty much close the restaurant that her mother left because they're not doing well. They decided after her mom died to like keep it open and it just didn't work. The restaurant is in Tribeca and they have a few regulars who come regardless of the fact that old girl can't cook. And what I don't understand is like when they just made that decision, like, hey, we're going to keep going after her mom died. Why not hire someone like, or her friend, her bestie, who's the sous chef? Why not let him just cook? Because you can't cook, girl.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
Okay. Like they can't afford the rent on the restaurant, right?
Right.
But then in a later scene, Tom asks to walk her home and she lives in the same building. So is she being evicted from her house because she can't pay rent on the apartment either?
Probably. My guess is probably not because it might be rent controlled. Like if her mom had that apartment for a long time, it might not fall under the same things for the restaurant.
Okay.
My guess.
So she has like 4 regulars that come in every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how much money are these people paying for food that they pretty much don't eat and then have to go home and cook themselves a meal because they feel bad for this girl? Bitch, learn how to cook.
They must have really loved her mom.
Yeah. And the restaurant is called the Southern Cross. So I expected like biscuits and gravy, like some sort of like home, like Southern cooking.
Yeah.
And she was making like chicken breast.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't making sense. Once she met Tom at the at the market, she mentioned that she was going to make crab Napoleon or something. And then after having a talk with like the regulars that they were going to have to shut down or whatever, we see Tom back at his office because he does something. I don't know what he does, but something high up at Henry Bandel, the department store. And you see his girl Friday, that's, I don't know what else to call her, his secretary, come up to him and let him know that his girlfriend or lady, some skinny lady, is upstairs and waiting for him. And so that's when we meet Amanda Peet's character. She seems to be like a very type A neurotic woman that he's only dated like on 4, I guess he's gone on 4 dates, but like they call each other girlfriend and boyfriend apparently.
And she synced her calendar with his calendar. I was like, were we doing that in 1999?
I could imagine the business bros kind of doing that, like on their, like they seem to be
Palm
very,
Pilots.
Palm Pilots.
Yeah.
Yes. So he is like freaked out by this and he's like, oh, it's time. And then this is where we get the scene of him showing a chart of his data from all the dating he's doing. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
So he's like, I have to break up with her. I'm going to try to do it at lunch. I wanted to do it in person or something like that. I don't know.
They go to lunch. She has a very specific restaurant in mind, but then we see the taxi driver drops them off in front of the Southern Cross. That darn rascal Gene O'Malley is driving the cab. Who is this mysterious stranger?
What I don't get is that the two of them get out without looking to see, oh, we're not, like, you know what part of town you're supposed to be going in. So she's got her good old planner, which gives me 27 Dresses vibes. And she's looking so confused and all over the place, but he spots Amanda immediately and he points at her, which rude. He's because Amanda's outside crying. And he's like, you. Now, his girlfriend immediately is like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like, you could tell she clocked it pretty quickly. And so she asked where the restaurant they're supposed to be is. And she's like, oh, it's 2 blocks away. And he's like, no, let's just eat here since we're here. And so Amanda is like freaking the fuck out because she's like, I don't know. But at the same time, she's banging some unwashed, unseasoned chicken and tenderizing it because I don't know what Amanda Peet's character asked for, some sort of chicken dish. And now she has to figure out how to make the crab Napoleon.
Yeah.
So she runs upstairs to go because her bestie tells her, check your mom's recipes. Which, bitch, why isn't that, Jackie?
Why isn't it in the kitchen? Why aren't you just using your mom's recipes? Why are we winging it?
So
did your mama not teach you how to cook?
It's crazy. She goes upstairs and quickly comes back down and says, I didn't find the recipes, but I got these earrings that used to be my mom's. So we're good.
I have a note of when Tom sees Amanda outside the restaurant and Chris, Amanda Peet, or is that her name? No?
Yeah, Amanda Peet's.
Okay. Amanda, the character, Amanda Peet.
I know.
It's confusing. Yeah. So Chris, Amanda Peet's character turns around and she's like, who is this little person? I was like, why'd you call her little person?
Oh my God. And I hate Amanda Peet's hair color in this movie.
And why is it so poofy? Like
it looks like when she bleached it, it like did something to the texture of her hair.
Yeah.
It looks horrible.
They keep commenting on her like perfectly straight hair. I'm like, that hair is disgusting.
Yeah, Amanda is like, oh, she's so perfect. She's this, she's that. And of course, as she's doing that, all of her emotions are going into that dish. And then she's trying to feel like, she's like, I don't know how to make crab Napoleon. Also, the dishes that she has to make should take a lot longer.
Yes.
She comes out within them coming in 5 minutes and she's like, oh, it'll be done soon. What? Yeah. And he cooks the crabs pretty fucking quick. I mean, maybe it doesn't take long to cook whole crabs. I don't know.
Shayla, how long does it take to cook a crab?
Right. Please let us know.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and but like she's daydreaming as she's like magically creating the crab Napoleon. And so they bring out the food to them. Amanda Peet's character goes fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And it's because Amanda has put all of her pent up anger and emotions into the chicken. So she takes one bite and is just like, essentially, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Peace, I'm out.
You're cool. But you're
Yeah.
to the crab. You're
Yeah.
cool. You're cool. Everyone else, fuck you.
Like she smears butter on his face. She uses his tie as a napkin.
I thought it was mashed potato.
Oh, I thought it was butter.
Why would she have that much butter on her plate?
I don't know. Amanda's not a good cook. And then she grabs the plates from the restaurant and just starts throwing them everywhere.
That scene made me mad because I would have came out of the kitchen and she would have caught some hands because what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they're just watching her like, oh, what are they doing? What?
No one has a sense of urgency in this movie about anything.
No. And the aunt is just drinking another martini. She don't give a rat's ass on this.
She's like, well, we're not going to have this restaurant soon. We don't need many plates. We don't get many customers.
Right. And Tom is in a trance. He is having an orgasm as he's eating his crab. First of all, she doesn't know how she made that crab. She just was sprinkling some stuff and boom, it was there. It looked very pretty. So the girl leaves. She breaks up with him. And this is the same kind of energy Amanda needed to have. Because she says, you're a jerk. You're mean. I'm so much better than you. And I'm like, yes, he is a jerk. You do deserve better. Yeah. And then even when he talks about the breakup, he was like, I have feelings, you know. You were going to go break up with her. What the fuck are you talking about?
Because according to your data, it was over.
Oh my gosh. And so then he is again still in a trance. He tells Amanda, look, send me the bill for the plates. And I will get that sorted for you. And he leaves money and he's just like, wow, this was amazing. And he bounces. And she's smitten.
Yeah.
And they're all still trying to figure out how the fuck she made that good food.
Yeah. And then, so she decides to get all gussied up to go to the department store to pick out new plates. And this was the scene with her friend where she's trying on all the outfits. He's making the dolls fight one another. And then he mentions if a guy adjusts his belt, that means he's interested.
Right. He's also said that a man thinks about sex like 230 plus times a day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't sound inaccurate. I have no idea. But when I was younger and I saw this movie, the outfits that Sarah Michelle Gellar wears, at the time, I thought this was peak fashion. You couldn't tell me nothing.
Crocheted outfits, a lot of spaghetti straps. The coat that she wears, I think it's in the scene coming up, was cute. The dress she chooses, not so much.
And he says something that's kind of mean about her outfits.
Yeah.
Almost like it's a bit much. And she's like, it took me, forever just to pick these 3 necklaces or whatever. But I was like, ew.
You just met her. Just don't say anything.
Also, I really hate the trope of a clumsy female lead in these rom-coms. Like, I'm so over it.
Yeah, she walks into the department store and immediately knocks over this display of all of these. I don't know if it was cologne or...
Yeah. I, again, want to ask, I don't know what his job is. I also don't know what the guy that he was talking to's job is, Ramos. Because I thought Ramos was part of the sales team selling the perfume. But then when that knife situation happens with the chef, he's like, Ramos, go figure that out. I was like, sir, I work in the perfume cologne area. What
This
you
is a
mean?
Wendy's.
Right. So I was confused. It shouldn't matter. Like, honestly, he's not a huge character, but I very much wanted to know, Ramos, what's your title? You getting paid for this? Kind of weird.
Well, and that, like, he sees her come in and doesn't immediately go down and be like, oh, hey, like, what you do? Like, he kind of watches her struggle and ask where he is. And then they, like, send her to plates on the 4th floor. And she's just kind of like, okay, I guess I'll go up to the 4th floor.
Because he's trying to be Mr. Cool Guy. I think at first when he sees her, it's almost like he's admiring her because you could see he gets excited that she's there, and it's because the klutziness is supposed to be funny and cute or endearing. Yeah, I don't know.
But he
So,
didn't act like that. It was. He was
right,
just kind of like,
right. And the scene when he tells her, she's like, oh, well, you told me to buy new plates. And he's like, oh, I thought you were just going to send me the bill. So here's another thing. Like, this man has been telling you from jump, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And so she was like, well, you sell plates. And he's like, well, yeah, they're on whatever. And then he starts talking to her and she's like, I can't hear you. And I'm like, girl,
You're
all
right
are not that
there.
far apart. But maybe it's a good way to get him to come closer. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
And then he's like, oh, I'll just show you.
what you should have done from the first place.
That's what a gentleman does,
Right.
sir.
And
And
so
then she picks out so many fucking plates. And I'm like, this is a really fancy department store. Each of those plates is probably like $100.
and he could afford it because you're lucky I didn't call the cops. So wrap up my plates. Let's go. So yeah, she gets a lot of patterns. He also, it's like another dig where he kind of says, these are eclectic or these are different.
You have an interesting taste or something like that.
Yeah. But then things get weird. Even like how you say
weirder than a magical crab.
Yeah, it gets weird because all of a sudden he's like completely under her spell. And I don't know what shifts, but
did he eat any of the eclairs at this point?
Right. She pulls out some eclairs because she says your dinner came with dessert. He starts to eat them and boy, my dude is over. And so here's my question. Amanda, do you like him or do you like yourself? Because this man turns into a semi-decent person after he eats your cooking.
Yeah.
Just asking for a friend. And so then after he starts eating the eclairs, he's like, I gotta take you somewhere. Because I got confused. They go down the elevator, right? And it seems like they're back in the lobby. And then he says, let me walk you to the elevator. She came in through the front door.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. But then he takes her all the way to the top or wherever. I don't fucking know where anything is at this point. To his brand new restaurant. Because that's like the other side story is that he's spent a shit ton of money on this brand new spanking restaurant with this very, like, I'm guessing Michelin star chef, French chef that has a big old ego.
He's shaving truffles into like the other chef's hands.
It's insane because they do peek in on him and his regime, his very Stalin-like regime going on in his kitchen. And then they go to like the area where the restaurant is going to be, and you could see like the floor has kind of like this black and white swirly design, which is really cool. And they just fucking are staring at each other. But also they're dancing. So you as the viewer and even the characters don't know if they're dancing in real life or they're both having a hallucination together or a fantasy together.
Even at the end, she still doesn't know. Like, he asks her, like,
Were we dancing?
Yeah, did we make that up? Did we hallucinate together? And she's like, just go with it.
And at this point, this is when we meet his boss, who is
The weird lip guy.
Jonathan Bendel. And he's calling out to Tom multiple times, but Tom is having a psychic link right now. Can't be disturbed. So then he finally like interrupts and he's like, okay, let me walk you down. Like, my dude, let the girl go home.
Yeah. And then he shows back up at her restaurant, which is now thriving because she's like in like with this guy. And so all of those emotions are going into her
Right.
her cooking. And this is the scene where I'm like, what are we doing here? Because the guy was like, one of the patrons had just finished dessert and he's like, I'd like to do the whole thing again, but backwards, start with dessert first. And I'm like, what kind of fucking line is that? Like, I don't understand why that was written into a movie. It's so dumb.
I don't know. And Noah, and then in this scene, they make Noah fat phobic because he's like, "Are you sure?" Because the man is a little heavy, and
Yes.
he's like, "Well, if you keep it up, we're gonna have to back you in, or something like that." I'm like, "We need customers. What are we doing right now?"
My dude, he wants to pay for 2 meals.
I just don't like. It was so unnecessary to have that those lines in there.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't move the story, it doesn't do anything.
No.
You could have had an actual funny joke.
And the customer just could have been like, this is the best meal I've ever had. I'm going to tell everyone about it. Like, here's a big tip or something like that. Like, not, I want to eat the whole thing again, but in revert. Like, that makes no goddamn sense.
I don't know. And I don't know if he comes there to the restaurant in the scene because doesn't he tell her he's going to call her after they part ways? And then like he doesn't call her, and then you see him in his office like in a trance because also, side note, to make him seem like a decent human being, he loves paper airplanes. All I want to do is I just think of the MIA song. That's because why? Why?
Yeah, I don't. I have no clue. It was giving On the Line, but I think On the Line did the paper airplanes better than this movie did. Yeah, I was like, of course he has to fly paper airplanes and be obsessed with perfecting the best paper airplane ever. And of course she knows about paper airplanes because why wouldn't she?
Right.
The only 2 people in fucking Manhattan that care about paper airplanes that are over the age of 5.
Right. So he's complaining to
Lois.
Thank you. He's complaining to Lois that this shit is weird. Every time I interact with this woman, I'm like having some sort of out of body experience. And this is our third, fourth. I don't know what date it is. I'm just, this is not good. This is not good. So they're talking about her. I think I probably mixed in 2 scenes together just now, but
It's fine.
he's talking to her. And as he's talking to her, the
Mhm.
secretary says, we have Amanda, because Noah, her bestie, is like, because she's like, he hasn't called. Shouldn't he call? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, I ain't got time for this shit. He calls the directory, calls the department store, and asks for her boo. And makes her look like a fucking fool because he don't like her. This is just like my thought process at this point. Because he's like, oh no. He answers the phone. She asked him to come over for dinner.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, let me check my calendar. And he's like, oh, I have a work meeting. His secretary says, no, it's clear. But he's like, nope, can't do it. So he's like, I'm not going over there. But he ends up going there later. But Amanda in this moment is just kind of like heartbroken and feels embarrassed because she should have waited for him to call. But I guess he feels guilty because then he comes over. He steals a fake vanilla plant from
Yes.
the department store and brings it over. And then she starts baking. This is the scene I was talking about where she has a freaking blueberry cheesecake, but now she's also going to make eclairs. I don't know.
And she's also covered in, I guess, like powdered sugar. And he keeps licking his thumb and then like dragging it down her cheek, and then like he's just tasting her, and he's like, you just taste so good. I'm like, what is happening? You're just rubbing your saliva all over her face. And then all of a sudden they're floating up in the ceiling.
There also, I hate that in movies when there's flour and sugar all over people's faces. What are y'all doing? I
Yeah.
baked a lot and I have never gotten any fucking flour on my face. I don't know who decided to make that like a thing, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really happen that often.
Like, just do like a little smudge, like she went like this, and like
Right.
a little bit, and he can like dust it off and be like, oh, powdered sugar or whatever. You taste
If
good.
a man
It's fine.
that I barely am dating takes his nasty hands and licks it and tries to put it on my face, we done.
No, like wipe it off and then lick. Not putting his saliva on you,
Oh, okay.
but like brush it
Yeah.
off and then, oh, you taste so good. Something like that.
Yeah, but
I
don't
could
bring that
see.
finger back to my face.
No.
So,
where we
yeah,
are. Oh,
they're
and then
floating.
the floating is so dumb. I hate it. And it's not like cute floating, like a couple inches off the ground. Their heads are hitting the ceiling floating.
It's not Casper floating.
No, it's not just a gentle "can I keep you" floating. It's like a Willy Wonka fizzy lifting drink floating.
Mm.
And which freaks him out, which as it should.
She's
I'm
way
6
too
feet off the
calm.
ground. Put
But
me down.
she's also not in control of it.
No, but she's also unbothered that she has these powers. And instead of explaining herself, like, I don't know what's happening, I don't know why these things keep occurring, she's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, she's so ambivalent to it. And I think, like, he has a right to be a little freaked out because she's so nonchalant about the entire, I have mystical powers now.
He does act like Darren in the Bewitched movie. In this, he is very anti. I think she's just going with it. For me, I feel like she's just so in love with him.
Yeah.
Right? That she's like, okay, we're floating. But I also think that she doesn't believe it's her doing it. I think she thinks maybe it's the combination of the two. And she's like, what's with a little float? But yes, he should be scared, but also he's extremely mean to her.
Yes.
And says mean things to her.
Yeah. And so does she send him eclairs to apologize? Is that how he gets them in his office in the next scene?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I feel like we missed a scene because there's a scene where they just start making out and then it ends.
The floating pear peel scene where she's peeling a pear and it's like incredibly slow and sexy, I guess. But then like as the peel is falling to the counter, it like floats in the air and like gently lays down on the counter. I think that's the scene where they start making out.
Yeah. Because at first things are going good for them, but the floating scene is where it's like, that's where he draws the line. Like, this shit is out of control. And now the eclairs, he's at work and he is dead in his tracks. He smells something and he is on the hunt. Turns out one of the old couples that goes to the restaurant had a box of eclairs and he steals it from them, talks about they're not supposed to have food. I would have fought him for that.
He snatches them so violently out of these old, frail people's hands.
Right.
I'm like, bitch.
And so he goes to go, I don't know, get a knife and fork. I don't know what he does, but Lois sees the box on his desk and she she's like, you got to share. And she just devours it.
Yes.
And he starts going on a rant about like, he doesn't know what the hell's going on with Amanda. This shit is crazy. And she's just like, go with it. What's the problem? He leaves. And while he's gone, she calls her secretary and says, I need you to go down to this restaurant and get as many eclairs as possible. Because she knows this shit is magic.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with Mr. Bendel. And I need this to be. Is it Bendel? Yeah. So she gets them. She corners him. And she's like trying to force feed him these eclair things or puff pastries. And they are chicka chicka bow wow in the elevator because
her plan works flawlessly.
It's like an aphrodisiac for them. And when she comes out, I love how she throws the box at Tom. She didn't even save him one. Like he's sitting there craving them or whatever. But yeah, they get in a fight when they start floating, and he blames everything on her. She does try to come to the office and say she's sorry with. I don't think she brings eclairs. She brings his wallet because it fell in the craziness of it all.
And at one point, he says like, "I love spending time with you" or something, and she goes, "I love you too." I'm like, girl, it's been like 3 days,
right? Even for a rom-com, which normally is like a week and these people are in love with each other. But yeah, they're not what you would call equally yoked at this point. She is head over heels and he is lukewarm at this point. And when she's at the office to like apologize, he doesn't want Lois to leave the office with her because now he's terrified of her being a witch or whatnot. And so they're arguing, and then that's when Mr. Bendel comes in and they find out that the chef has left because he left it up to Ramos, the cologne dude, to
get knives for the chef.
Right. The chef wants his knives, and I guess they got held in customs or something, so he refuses to work. And so the chef busts in and like cusses them out. He tries to throw knives at them. First of all, arrested. There's a lot of people that should be arrested in this movie. And now they have no chef. And so Lois mentions to Mr. Bendel, like, hey, this is the girl that made those wonderful eclairs that we had the other day. And he's like, perfect. So he hires her. And Tom is like, I don't think she can do it.
This is the scene where I think Lois refers to her as a magical chef.
Yeah.
And then Tom says, she's not magic, she's demonic. The quickness, I would have like turned around and walked the fuck out of that place.
Right.
Like, you want me to help you now that you called me demonic? Fuck you and fuck everyone in here. Except for Patricia Clarkson.
But she says yes, and she just got a really good review in the newspaper. So her friend Noah's trying to convince her, like, you're going to be great at this, no problem. She goes and sees. Then it's like she goes and sees the kitchen, and then she runs into him. She's like, "Why are you here?" But then she's like, "Oh, you work here." I'm like, "Girl, where is the anger?"
Yeah.
Where is the fuck you about all of this?
And then all of a sudden Noah shows up to like help in the kitchen.
Well, she must call him because it's the next day we see her arrive, and
but she
Noah...
doesn't have her mama's earrings, so she's like, shit's not gonna work. And Noah tries to reassure her by telling her even Dumbo flew without its feather.
Well, he tried to do the best that he can. He's like, you ain't gonna mess this money up for us. Get your shit together. And there is the sous chef of the original chef is an asshole and just pretty much says there's no truffles. He's like, what do you want me to do? He's just rude to Amanda.
Yeah.
And I guess she puts him in his place. I don't know. I don't think so.
She goes, find me figs.
Yeah.
But then she's like really freaked out and like starts crying because she's like, I can't fucking do this. I don't even have truffles. And so the first dish that's served to everyone's boo-hooing into their figs.
All of her emotions just come out. So like each course is like a new experience. So even though people are crying, because she starts freaking out when she sees everyone crying, because her aunt comes in and says, I don't want to freak you out, but look what's going on. If you don't want to freak her out, don't let her know.
No, you hide that shit until later.
But her aunt had a bomb ass dress on, though. I saw she had like a cutout in the back. I was like, okay, auntie, get it. So they're watching everyone's reactions. So the first course, the appetizer, they cry. The entree, they are all just kind of like in a trance, stunned. Now, mind you, this piece of shit, Tom, isn't eating anything because he says he's too nervous. But we know it's because he's a scared little bitch.
Yeah. Did you notice that while I think it was the first course while everyone's crying, it had some orchestral music playing, but then it either sounded like a bell or a cash register.
Yes, every time. So this is very much pulling from like the 60s and 50s, like movies and TV shows. Because even if you look at like Bewitched, like when something magical happened, it'd be like a little bell or something.
But why only in the last scene?
I think this is to like portray people having when the food hits them, you know?
Which is fine, but like
I don't know, Jackie.
It hurt my ears. It was weird because it was paired with like very like solemn music. It was just.
What do you mean it hurt your ears? It wasn't that loud.
It was so loud. Like that's how I noticed it, because like the second or third time I'm like, why is there fucking ringing in this movie?
I don't know. I thought it was cute, but so everyone's in a trance, but also like people are having like aphrodisiac reaction to it, because like somebody takes their shoes off and is like rubbing their foot up against their like leg. I don't know.
I just love how Lois goes, it's so hazelnutty.
She said it's nutty. It's hazelnutty. Like
and then Amanda starts having like a past memories montage of all the good times ? With Tom.
It's weird, but it reminds me, like, if you watch a K-drama, every time, no matter what, some K-dramas do it every fucking episode. It's really annoying, but like a halfway point in the show, they will do montages, like people just sitting and like wrap it up. I was there.
Seen this.
Right. This just fucking happened. So yeah, she has a montage. And then the dessert is like this apple thing that has stuffed ice cream, or I don't know what it is.
It looked good.
It did. I definitely wanted it. And then she's like packing it up to go.
Yeah.
There's no way. I would have, all those rich people, I would have networked. I would have gotten my, yeah.
And my question is, okay, so this opening of the restaurant went well, but like, what was the end goal? Like, to hope to get the original chef back to hire Amanda, but then she's not working at her restaurant that she loves so much and wants to say, like, what is the goal of this?
Well, with most restaurants, like, she doesn't have to stay, like, she could maybe be there a few days a week, and her recipes, like, she can have recipes for that restaurant and then have a sous chef like execute.
But if they want the experience,
well, her thing is a little bit different, but I'm just thinking from like the perspective of like how this could have worked from a restaurant standpoint. Yeah, that's my thought, is that she could have set it up and done both, or left Noah in charge of the other restaurant. So who knows? And then this elevator upstairs, downstairs bullshit that happens where she's leaving, he's all of a sudden like looking for her now.
I can't live without you.
Right. It's just stupid. And then he can't find her, and then he spots her outside and getting in the cab. He's calling for her. Somehow she doesn't hear that. But here comes the paper airplane that can, because the windows of course it's open of
Yeah.
the taxi cab, and then she comes running as soon as she sees it. Girl, what if it was just some random person?
Yeah.
And then he puts a dress. Okay, so he catches her attention. Instead of immediately running downstairs to say, like, I'm sorry, he goes shopping. He goes and looks for a dress for her and puts it in the elevator, has time to do all the shit. She was not far.
No, she was getting into the taxi right outside the doors of the department store.
And he wrote, like, wear me, or I don't know what he wrote on it. And then she sends the mannequin back up and says thanks. And then he's confused, like, where is she? And then instead of going downstairs to look for her, he just goes back to the restaurant. And then she's just magically at the restaurant before him, but then tells him she had to stop for shoes. And who did them curls, Michelle, Sarah? Who did them curls? Because I'm sorry, I saw her hair before this.
She had been working in a kitchen all night.
I just can't.
The crab did her curls to him now.
There's just only so much that I could overlook.
And then they're floating again.
Right. And nobody notices.
No. Like a packed fucking restaurant.
They're
just
all drunk.
floating around. And that is simply irresistible.
Several scenes in the movie were shot inside of New York's Henry Bendel's department store. So as not to disrupt normal business, the motion picture equipment was brought in at closing time and filming would go on all night. When customers arrived at the store each morning, all traces of the production had vanished. So
Clerk style.
Yeah. Yes.
Despite the fact that the movie was filmed in Super 35, filmed in Panavision is listed in the end credits. Even production was phoning it in at the end.
I wonder if they did that because a lot of those movies from that earlier time period used to just, like, it's just such a visible thing that you would see associated with the older movies. But you're right. They probably just said, fuck it. If you could see the string on the crabs, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like the production crew was like, we don't know what the fuck this movie is. So we're going to do the least.
Well, if you have feedback, if you love this movie like Ken does, or you despise it, or you have questions that we missed, make sure to hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Threads. And Jackie, now that you've seen the movie, I'm so not ready for this. What's your rating?
I hope I never have to watch this movie again. I will have to watch this movie again because we only got through half of it last night and Ken was very sad he didn't get to finish it. So I'm at least watching the second half again, but same day rental for me.
And for me, would buy it again.
I know you will lie.
Trying to digest that.
You are lying, either to me or yourself. Are we standing with would buy it again?
Classic, Jack. I might have a lot of questions, but it's a classic.
Is it? Okay.
All right. I'm just joshing you. It's a 2-day rental for me.
Okay.
Because I'll watch it again. I'm not going to lie.
I need you to watch it with Ken so I don't have to.
Just zoom me in, baby. We'll watch it again.
Well, if you have any opinions on the cinematic classic that is Simply Irresistible, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601 and MLF. Twat us at the Twitters, hem us at the Threads, and you can be featured on a future episode.
Well, on that, I do want to wish a happy birthday to our wonderful supporter and my sister from a different mister, Shayla. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, and our crab connoisseur. Happy birthday, Shayla. Thank you for always supporting us and always keeping it real with us.
And the magic continues next week as we cover practical magic. Very
We're doing
excited
a
for that
little
one.
magical September in preparation for spooky season October. So
I think we should make margaritas next week.
oh,
I mean,
100%. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have margarita glasses. I'm very excited.
And as always, be kind and rewind.